7-game slate in the NBA tonight. Here to make sense of it, DraftKings contributor Garion, Thorne, and DK Nation editor Chinmay, Vaidya. Guys, building blocks time. So which guard are you going to be building your DFS lineups around, Garion? Who do you need to have?
It's an answer that I've given a lot so far this season. I think DeJounte Murray is probably my number one option at guard. He's a little expensive, $10,600, but this is someone who has just basically gone fantasy supernova since the trade deadline when Derek White was shipped to Boston. He's averaging 1.55 DraftKings points per minute in that span of time. And this matchup against Sacramento is among the best you could possibly draw. I mean, not only are they an underwhelming defensive team, but across their last 10 games, they are tied for the third highest pace in the NBA. And the Spurs are running at a pretty high pace too. So I think this is probably going to turn into a track meet. And that is the environment I would most want to get DeJounte Murray. So you got to pay over 10K for the guy, but I think it's a really, really good return on investment tonight.
Yeah, over the last 10 days, he's been averaging 57.3 fantasy points per game. Not too shabby. Chinmay, I saw you nodding your head like you like that pick.
Yeah, Murray's a great option, and the matchup is a big reason why. There's a lot of great options on this slate tonight. Ja Morant coming off the 50-point effort career high. It's intriguing to have him. Stephen Curry is obviously a known name, but I'm going with Luka Doncic. He's been the most consistent over the longest period of time. And I think if you're going to pay up for Murray, you might as well shell out the couple extra K for Luka Doncic and what the Mavs have been doing this season. So I'm going to go with Luka Doncic for this one.
All right, Chinmay, who's the forward that you're looking at and feeling like you need to roster?
There are a couple options. I think Jason Tatum is going to have a big game today with Jaylen Brown ruled out with that ankle injury. So Tatum is a nice option if you want a high-end play. I also like Jeremy Grant from the Pistons, and I know Detroit is not exactly the type of team that you want to back this season. They haven't played very well, but Grant has 26 points in back-to-back games, and he's their number one scoring option. Toronto's dealing with some injuries right now, so I like Jeremy Grant to keep up his scoring pace, and he's more of the value play. I believe he's under 7K right now, so I like Jeremy Grant as the value play in DFS tonight.
All right, Gary, and who are you rolling with your forward position?
Yeah, I think there's some guys you can go if you want to save a little bit of money. I think someone like Danilo Gallinari in a matchup against the Bulls is a kind of appealing spot. Atlanta's front court is just decimated right now. Okongwu left that game against the Celtics on Tuesday after just 7 minutes because of a concussion. John Collins has been listed as doubtful, I think, for like the last 17 months. He's probably not going to play tonight. So that led to a scenario where Danilo Gallinari had to play 35 minutes in that game against Boston, which was a season high. And I don't know why that changes tonight against the Bulls in, again, what should be a pretty up-tempo game. There's a lot of really nice game environments tonight. And obviously one of those is also Memphis against the Celtics, where Jason Tatum is probably going to be the most popular play on tonight's slate. And I think he's deserving of that. It is one of those situations where you think, okay, how great could the stats be when Jaylen Brown's been off the court? Well, since the trade deadline, when Brown isn't playing, we have a 106-minute sample of Tatum out there on the court. His usage rate is 40%. So I just think we're in a spot where in an up-tempo game against Memphis, if he doesn't take 25 field goal attempts, I would be shocked. So I think you have to play Tatum, but there are some value guys available too.
All right, Gary, and let's talk centers. You got 3 options over 9K: Vucevic, Siakam, Sabonis. Are you going with one of those guys, or you want to save a little money?
I mean, they're all pretty appealing. I do think Sabonis of the 3 is probably the one I lean most towards just because, again, that environment. Sacramento, terrible defense, but the Spurs have not been much better. Across their last 5 games, they have the 5th worst defensive rating in basketball. They're giving up 117.1 points per 100 possessions in that stretch. They also are operating at the 5th highest pace in the league in that 5-game stretch. And Sabonis, since February 16th, 1.44 DraftKings points per minute played. Really, the only thing that slowed him down is lopsided game scripts, where he's played in the low 30s in minutes instead of in the high 30s. I think these are 2 pretty evenly matched teams. I mean, I don't know. There's a chance the Spurs beat the Kings by 20. We're talking about the Kings. But I think projecting this game for Sacramento, this is one of the few times you can go into a matchup and say they're not completely overmatched. So I think we can get a pretty neutral game script here. And if that means 37, 38 minutes from Sabonis, I think he's easily going to surpass 50 DraftKings points tonight.
All right, Chinmay, what do you think?
I like Sabonis as a play. He's a nice option. He's going to get you a good amount of points, and he's heavily involved in that offense. So he's going to be all over the place in terms of points, assists, and rebounds. He's going to get you points. But I like some value plays here as well, especially if you're going to shell out for guard and forward. Clint Capella is probably going to get a lot of minutes. Probably not going to give you a lot of points in terms of distributing the ball, but the rebounds are going to be there, and he's going to be their lone center, as Garion mentioned, with Okongwu out and Collins basically out for a long time now. Another one is Ivica Zubac. He's been playing really well. Points and rebounds are going to be there. The Lakers have been in shambles for a while now, so the Clippers have more to play for there, in my opinion. And I think Zubac is going to have a decent game. So those are two, again, value plays. Not going to wow you in terms of stats, but going to get the job done.
All right, Slate approved pick time. So, Chinmay, what's your favorite bet on the DK Sportsbook tonight?
I like Warriors plus 1.5. I think they're due for a big game, and I think they were not very happy about what happened last time against the Mavs. So Klay Thompson's coming back, and I think the Warriors are going to have a big game against the Mavs. So give me Warriors plus 1.5. Might even be worth a money line play.
All right, Gary, and you're looking at the DK Sportsbook Slate approved bet of the night.
Yeah, so I'll give a rational one and then a completely irrational one. Rationally, I'm just going back to Jason Tatum. His points prop is 29.5 tonight. I think he soars over that number. There are some prop specials as well. You can get him at plus 35 points at plus 200. 35 points and 10 rebounds is plus 550. I don't think that's an insane thing to think about when you look at just what the pace of this game could be and how many field goal attempts there might be. So that's the rational play. Irrationally, I kind of want to look at Pistons money line tonight, only for the fact that there is something about Dwayne Casey playing Nick Nurse. And I speak to this as a Raptors fan. Dwayne Casey is 6-3 head-to-head against Nick Nurse since he was fired for Nick Nurse as the head coach of the Raptors. That includes a 2-season stretch where the Raptors won a championship. These have been pretty good teams that Dwayne Casey has been going up against. I think Isaiah Stewart, following a early season win this year. And again, Isaiah Stewart wasn't even on the Pistons when Dwayne Casey was hired. He was in college when this was all happening. Said, we know how much these games mean to coach. We play extra hard for him. Plus 270 for the Pistons. I don't know. They're already 2-0 against the Raptors this season. Why not make it a full sweep?